In this video, we're going to take a look at the best AI video generators of 2025. I'll take a look at each tool, talk about the pros and cons, and rank them based on my super scientific French fry scale, with curly fries being at the top and floppy crinkle cut fries being at the bottom. Let's get started. The first tool that we're going to take a look at is Sora. Sora is an incredible tool developed by OpenAI. When it was announced in 2024, our jaws dropped. It looked incredible, but now we have access to the tool. And the question is, does it stand up? Well, let's find out. So during this testing process, I'm going to basically lay out a pretend scene so that we can have some variety to see the cinematic potential of each AI video generator. So we have this establishing shot here. It's basically this kind of like abandoned factory setting. We have this shot of this man looking over a computer. He's just kind of worried, right? Like something's going on. And then we have this shot here of basically kind of a SWAT team. Maybe they're about to get to that researcher and attack him or something. And so we're just building tension from just a few shots here. And basically, I'm going to use each one of those images to test the cinematic potential of each of these generators. So let's get to it. To create a video in Sora, all you have to do is go to their website, click on the plus icon at the bottom, and you can upload an image or a video, which is pretty cool. I'll use this video of a SWAT guy walking towards the door, and we'll go ahead and click open. Once the image is loaded up, now you can type in your prompt. For our prompt, I'll say a soldier walks down a hallway. The camera tracks with the soldier as they approach a door, handheld camera. So the cool thing about using Sora is you have the ability to adjust quite a few different settings that aren't available in other tools. So for example, you can select different aspect ratios. We'll say 16:9, of course. You can also change the resolution. So you can go all the way to 1080p, which is great because most of the AI video generators can only do 720p. You can also change the duration with some of the resolution settings. You can go all the way up to 20 seconds. It's pretty cool. And then finally, you can change the number of variations. Now, with the 1080p version, you can only create one variant, but with 720, you can do two, and with 480, you can do four, which is really powerful. So when you're ready to render, go ahead and click Create Video. I went ahead and rendered out the other two clips as well and combined them together into a scene with some sound effects. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Copy that.
Okay, so as you can see, it does look fairly cinematic. The establishing shot looks pretty good. I like the dynamic movement. I like that the clouds in the background are billowing, and it really does feel like an establishing shot. We also have the shot here of the soldier walking to the door, which is pretty good. I should note that we had to edit around a spot where the soldier in the background actually just kind of disappeared. So that's just kind of part of working with Sora. It sometimes takes your image that you uploaded and changes it a bit whenever it starts to render. But it looks pretty good. The alarm, kind of clicks in a little late there, but it's not bad. And then finally, we have the shot of the guy looking up, and yeah, there's like anxiety on his face. It looks like he's kind of in a hurry. The camera shake looks very, very natural. So I think it did a pretty good job. Now, of course, the problem with working with Sora is because it tends to be one of the more creative tools, it can also get the strangest whenever you get into your generation. So for example, here's one clip that we had, and you can see that the background character like disappears behind some random door, and then that door closes. And then he is approaching this door, and same thing over here. He just kind of covers up the guy, and then a huge door appears, which is just kind of weird. So a lot of times when you're working inside of Sora, that type of stuff can happen, and it can really eat into your generation credits. The strangeness that you get from Sora can be extra annoying sometimes because the tool is also pretty expensive. The most expensive version is $200 a month, which is definitely cost prohibitive for a lot of independent artists. On the positive side, Sora makes it super easy to upload images and videos, and you do have the ability to keyframe your videos using a storyboard feature, which is very helpful. When Sora hits, it hits incredibly well, and the video quality can be incredible. So it's definitely an amazing tool for getting really good results. And the fact that you can render 1080p natively is really nice. Of course, you probably want to upscale that using an outside tool, but the fact that you can render the core video in 1080 is really awesome. Now, the con to using Sora is exactly like I said, it's really expensive, which is cost prohibitive for a lot of folks. And then the fact that it can tend to cut to random shots and really just waste a lot of time, that can be a challenge. You also don't have the ability to upload photos of people if you aren't on the most expensive plan. So again, that makes it really challenging if you're an independent artist using the tool. So for all of these AI video generators, I'm going to rate them based on 3 categories. The first is realism, the second is camera and character physics, and the third is workflow and ease of use. So for realism inside of Sora, I would say 8 out of 10. It does a really good job. It's not perfect, and even the best generations of Sora, if you really begin to examine them, there can be some strangeness that you begin to uncover, but it does a really good job. Now for character and camera physics, I will say that because Sora can get really strange really quickly and it tends to want to change your scene again and again, I have to give it just a 4 out of 10. And for workflow and ease of use, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because while the platform is incredibly easy to use and intuitive, the fact is the content moderation filters are too extreme with Sora, and it makes it really challenging when you're working on a film project. So that gives Sora a total score of 17 out of 30, putting them into the sweet potato fry level. Next up, we have Google Veo. So Veo 2 was announced recently, and the quality of the results that we've seen from the tool are incredible. Let me show you how to use it. So this is what Veo 2 looks like. I'm in early access, so this isn't publicly available, so I'll move quickly here. The weird thing about using Veo is the fact that you don't have the ability to upload your own images at this time. You have to create the image on their platform, and then you create the video. So that can be really tricky, especially if you're looking for character consistency, lighting consistency, color, all of those things. So you should definitely know about that limitation, and it is going to make it incredibly hard to create films with the tool in its current capacity. But that being said, let me show you the workflow here. So I have basically a prompt where I'm gonna create an image of a soldier walking down the abandoned hallway. Let's go ahead and create that image. Okay, we have an image here. If you wanted to, you could start over. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. We'll go to motion here, and I'm going to say a soldier walks down a hallway. The camera tracks as the soldier approaches a door. And we'll go ahead and create that video. I did the same thing for the other 3 shots. Let's take a look at our result.
Copy that.
It's pretty wild. I mean, the establishing shot looks great. That shot with the SWAT guy looks amazing. And then this is probably one of the more expressive AI videos that I've seen up to this point. But the problem that I'm sure you're noticing here is the 3 shots feel completely different. They feel like they're from 3 completely different films. And really, no matter how much prompting you do, it's really tricky to get the consistency without more advanced tools for doing style consistency, location, characters, all of those things. So that's a huge limitation to using Veo. However, the physics engine that's powering Veo is probably the best out of any AI video generator. So for overall realism, I would say with Veo, 10 out of 10. It is the best AI video tool for creating realistic videos. For character and camera physics, again, I would say 10 out of 10. I think it does an amazing job, not only with camera shake, tracking shots, all of those things, but also with the actual expression of the characters directing the movement. All of those things come through when you're working with Veo, and it's incredible. All of that being said, for workflow and ease of use, people really don't have access to Veo right now, so that's not very helpful. And then it's also very tricky to work on a scaled up project inside of Veo, especially because you're going to want consistency. You're going to want that film to feel like it lives in the same world and universe, and that's just really tricky. So that gives Veo a score of 23 out of 30, and they are now in the waffle fry level. All right, good job. Moving on, let's take a look at Runway. Runway is an incredible company that really supports the AI filmmaking community, and they have a ton of tools outside of just AI generative video alone. You can use Runway for lip syncing, in painting. There's a ton of tools that are really interesting. To create a video inside of Runway, all you have to do is go to Generative Session, and you can upload your image or video. And of course, we can type in a prompt here. I'm just going to say camera tracking shot, soldier walks down the hallway. And you can, of course, change the model that you're using. Gen 3 Alpha is their best model at the time. And you can change it from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. We can just do 5 seconds for now and go ahead and click generate. So let's watch our scene.
Copy that.
Okay, so you can see there are things to like and also things not to like with this overall scene here. So if we kind of go to the beginning here, the first thing you're probably going to notice is a severe loss in resolution. Now, it's really interesting because a lot of the AI video generators produce results that are around 720p, but for some reason, the fidelity of the generations from Runway really don't look great a lot of times. For example, there's a lot of really fuzzy areas you see here with this establishing shot that if an audience was watching this, they would really not be very forgiving for those changes in resolution there. You also have some really weird physics. So you see this character here, he's kind of gliding in a weird way. This guy in the background, he looks pretty good, although he's not in much of a hurry, but that's okay. But this guy, he kind of seems like he's gliding and a bit like connected to the camera as opposed to his like natural footsteps. So that's a little weird. And then the final shot here of the guy looking up, I like that dynamic camera movement. Obviously, there's not a lot of expression on his face. It is kind of flat, so you'd probably need to use Runway Act 1 to like get a little more expression there. But it did an okay job. The thing to like about Runway is the fact that it's really quick. You can generate like 20 video clips in the time it would take you to generate one inside of Kling or Minimax. And you also have the ability to use all of those features that I talked about that go way beyond just the video generation alone. So I really recommend using Runway if you are a filmmaker, but let's get to the score. For overall realism with Runway, I would say that it's kind of just a 5 out of 10. I was really thinking that the results would be better, but it seems like the algorithm has really stagnated recently. Hopefully, there will be new announcements soon, but at this point, it's really beginning to fall behind some of the competitors. For character and camera physics, again, I have to give it a 5 out of 10. The characters inside of our scene, some of them looked good, others, the physics just didn't look right, and the overall camera movement just didn't really make a lot of sense, especially with that second shot. And for workflow and ease of use, I'll say 8 out of 10, giving Runway a total of 18 out of 30, putting them strongly inside of that sweet potato category. Next up, we have Luma. Luma Dream Machine released in summer 2024, and it really was one of the first AI video generators that existed in this kind of Gen 3 era. The results that we got from Luma far exceeded the other results that we were getting from other AI video generators. But the question is, how does the Luma hold up today? Luma is incredibly easy to use. All you have to do is click the plus icon on their website, go to the image and upload your image. You also have the ability to set an in frame, so you can interpolate between the first frame and the last frame, and it'll basically animate between them, which is pretty cool. All we have to do is type in our prompt and go ahead and click render. I put all the clips from Luma together. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Copy that.
Okay, so as you can see, it's not super realistic. An audience would not fully buy these scenes that we're getting from Luma. I do think the establishing shot looks pretty good, but that second shot with the soldiers here, I mean, it just looks like this guy in the background is being the creepiest little creepy SWAT guy ever. And this guy, while the initial turn looks good, it's coming across as slow motion, which a lot of the AI video generators will give you slow motion footage, and that's not really helpful if you're working on a project that's supposed to have realistic dynamic physics. And then the final shot here of the guy, his eyes, it looks weird. It looks like he's like a weird skeleton guy. I think, was it X-Men where the guy like blinked in 2 different ways? It kind of looks like he has like a weird blink going on right now. So it really just did not do an amazing job. So while Luma is fast and easy to use and their API is also incredibly quick, the fact is that realism is really bad. You tend to get a lot of slow motion video clips from Luma, and the physics just aren't really that realistic. So for overall realism, I'm going to give Luma a 2 out of 10. For character and camera physics, again, a 2 out of 10. And then for workflow and ease of use, I'm going to say 5 out of 10. The actual interface is incredibly easy to use, but when you actually get into the resolution that you're getting from Luma, the overall fidelity, the quality of the generations, and then also just the feasibility of the tools that are there. The first frame and last frame feature is great in theory. In actuality, it doesn't actually work out so good most of the time. So I'm actually only going to give that a 5 out of 10. So that means that the total score for Luma is 9 out of 10, putting it in the steak fry category. Although some French fries with some A1, that would probably be pretty solid. Next up is Minimax, also known as Hailu. It is a Chinese-based video generator that popped up in 2024, and the results are pretty impressive. Let me show you how to use it. To use Minimax, all you have to do is go to the Hailu AI video website and go ahead and click Quick Create. From here, you can drag in an image and we'll paste in our prompt. And the cool thing is you do have the ability to generate up to 3 video clips at a time, which is pretty cool. And go ahead and click Generate. So let's watch back our results from Minimax.
Copy that.
So as you can see, there's some things to like and some things not to like about this. The first is the overall movement of the camera, especially on the establishing shot. It's not super dynamic. And the things that should be moving, for example, the clouds in the background, there's really just not a lot of movement. It's okay, but it's not the best. You also have the second shot here. And let's just note this guy who is just being like a sneak king over here. He's just like sneaking around. Creeping in the weirdest possible way. And I should also note that we prompted for the soldier to basically be walking towards the door, and he really just kind of like checks his gun and like looks around. There's really just not a lot of movement there. So not the best result from that shot. And then finally we have this shot here, and you can see the man, he's kind of talking here. I don't really know what he's saying. We didn't prompt in for talking, but for some reason Minimax really likes making everyone talk. So again, Minimax is incredibly easy to use and the physics are decent, especially if you have shots that aren't getting enough movement from some of the other video platforms. Minimax tends to give you the most overall movement, and so it can really just add life to your animation. Just think about it as giving your subject some coffee. That's kind of what you're doing whenever you use Minimax. Now, the con to using Minimax is the fact that the overall realism is just not amazing compared to the AI video generators that are now available. It used to be amazing. Just a few months ago, it really was one of the best tools, but as it stands right now, it's not giving us the best results. And the overall resolution is also a bit lower from Minimax, so you're going to have to up-res the result and then also probably do a little bit of sharpening because it does tend to be a little soft. So for overall realism from Minimax, I'm going to say 7 out of 10. For character and camera physics, we're going to do 6 out of 10. And for workflow and ease of use, it's incredibly easy to use. We're going to say 8 out of 10, which gives Minimax a score of 21 out of 30, and they are officially a sweet potato. Next up, we have Kling. Like Minimax, Kling is a Chinese video model, but they have many more features that are interesting. You have the ability to train models on someone's face so that you can have them in the video again and again. There's a lot more control over the videos that you generate, and there's just more settings that you can adjust, including negative prompting to get exactly what you're looking for. To create a video inside of Kling, all you have to do is go to the AI videos button and you can drag and drop your image. And I'm using the latest version of Kling, that's 1.6. Again, you type in a prompt. You can also change the duration, the number of generations, and then also the creativity strength, which is pretty cool. And then they do have a spot down here to type in negative prompts. So things like blurry, distortion, weird, all of those words that you typically would want to include in a negative prompt, you can paste down here. And when you're ready, of course, you can click generate. So let's take a look at the results here.
Copy that.
Okay, I gotta say, I'm really impressed from the result from Kling here. I think that it really embodies a lot of the cinematic aesthetics and elements that I would want to see from a video generator. For example, if we go back to the beginning here, you can see that the smoke is billowing from this factory, and we have that nice movement of the overall scene, which is cool. We also have this second clip here. It's pretty interesting because you have the soldier that holds up the gun, and then it rack focuses on this guy in the background. And his movement, if you compare that to some of the other tools, the guy in the background's movement is very realistic. It really looks like there's a lot of weight behind his steps. Obviously, we'd probably want to prompt in a little more urgency from the way he's approaching that door, but it is what we prompted, and the actual added camera movement looks good. And I should also note that on the edges here, you're seeing some chromatic aberrations. It's taking on lens dynamics. Like that's really a very cinematic and a much more detailed result that we're getting from Kling versus other tools like Luma. You couldn't even begin to think about chromatic aberrations like that because the resolution is already so soft that that's something to focus on in the future whenever their model gets as good as Kling. And then we have the shot here of the guy anxiously looking at his computer. And I should note that when we prompted in for, someone anxiously at their computer, the system actually understood what anxiety is when it's captured on camera. There's usually a pushing in, it feels like the world is closing in around them. And really the overall cinematic result helps to reinforce the story that we're trying to tell. So it's kind of like having a bit of an AI director of photography helping you out during the production process here. So for overall realism, I would say 8 out of 10 for Kling. It does a really good job most of the time. Character and character physics, again, I would say 8 out of 10. And then for workflow and ease of use, again, 8 out of 10. So 8s across the board. That gives Kling a total of 24 out of 30, putting it in the waffle fry category. And then finally, we have Haiper 2.5. Haiper is a super fast and easy tool to use, but can it stand up to the other tools? Let's find out. So I'm on Haiper's website, and all you have to do is go to image to video, and let's go ahead and upload our image. So our image is uploaded, and then we have our prompt here. So you do have the ability to change the resolution if you want, and also the duration up to 6 seconds long, and go ahead and click create. Let's take a look at our final result here.
Copy that.
Okay, so as you can see, the result from Haiper is not amazing. The first shot is just incredibly static. There's just no movement whatsoever. The second shot, I don't know what's happening. This guy's not even moving, and this guy, the weight behind the guy's steps is just strange. He's like floating, and then it just like randomly zooms in for some reason at the end. So no idea what's going on there. And then finally, we have the shot of the guy kind of rising up. And I suppose it's okay. The only problem is when he blinks, it's like too fast and too robotic. It's like it didn't blink for enough frames. So it looks like he's, I don't know, some sort of like robot character that's been programmed to blink as opposed to a real video clip here. So I just don't think it did an amazing job. So while I definitely think Haiper is a very fast and easy tool to use, the truth is it's very unrealistic and the physics are honestly pretty bad at this point. So for overall realism, I'm going to give Haiper a 1 out of 10. For character and camera physics, I'll give it a 2 out of 10. I think that last shot was okay, but not the best. And for workflow and ease of use, I'm going to say 2 out of 10, mainly because the overall fidelity and resolution of those final videos that you get, they're not amazing, and there's not a ton of advanced features on their platform. So that gives Haiper a total of 5 out of 30, putting it unfortunately in our floppy crinkle cut category. If you want to learn how to get maximum cinematic results from prompting to video generation to even compositing, upscaling, and distribution, be sure to check out our AI filmmaking course over on Curious Refuge. We would love to have you inside of the program. And of course, if you want to get the latest AI tutorials and news directly to your email inbox, You can subscribe for free by going over to Curious Refuge. Just click that blue button in the top right corner, and you can fill out your email information, and then you'll get our weekly newsletter, which has the latest news you need to know about. And then finally, of course, you can subscribe here on YouTube to get the latest tutorials and AI news directly here on the platform. Before we go, I just want to say that the thoughts and prayers of everyone at the Curious Refuge community goes out to people affected by the fires in Los Angeles. I know we have a ton of members of the Curious Refuge community in LA, so we hope you are safe. Please reach out to us on Discord to let us know that you are doing well. This community is incredibly loving and supportive, and when things are safe, we would love to get together again and see all of you. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will see you in the next one.